Welcome into today's episode of Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we're talking about ouchies, boo-boos, and all other kinds of nicks and scrapes that you can have or that the Seattle Seahawks have on this very talented roster. Right now, we've got an early injury report heading out of the Steelers Week 2 game, going into the Saints Week 3 game. We're going to break down what's going on with Jalen Sundell. Maybe we need to invest in some mustard or pickle juice over there, bud. Devon Witherspoon, we got some pretty good news coming from Mike Macdonald at his press conference today. And Emmanwori, we might not have to be so worried about his ankle injury. He could be coming back sooner than we expected. But I need positive vibes from you. I don't know if you've heard this, but sometimes if you're just wishful thinking and you're positive, injuries can go away for yourself. Maybe that'll help this Seattle Seahawks team. So make sure you have positive vibes and you like the video to help get the boys out and healthy. Now, I was worried initially when Jalen Sundell went down with his injury over in Pittsburgh because, in my eyes, that's your starting center. He's really stepped up in his role on this team. Frankly, I don't want him going down. It's not a position that you can lose. And when you have a center or an offensive lineman just in general fall to the ground and they start grabbing their legs, the way that he fell didn't look all that comfortable. I was really worried until I saw the post-game interviews for head coach Mike Macdonald. He almost kind of like giggled. Like, Macdonald has this way about him coming from, that former military background with his family where if you aren't like broken boned, if you aren't laying there dying, he's going to kind of think you're a little bit soft. And it was one of those like, he had some cramps, not worried about it. And look, we've all been there before. We've all been running around and felt one in your hamstring. Sounds like that's just what happened to Sundell. And when you're out playing on the football field, it can be really painful and you're not going to be able to play through it. It's not like a cramp you could just go and stretch at home. Sundell was really improved in this game in my eyes. The 49ers game, I felt like he kind of got nervous. He took a step back. He wasn't the only one on that offensive line to do it. So you can look here at his PFF grades against the 49ers and say, that's pretty bad. That's below average. We're moving forward. Almost 10 points higher against the Steelers. And I thought he did a great job when balls were run to the left of getting two reaches that he need to, opening things up for Kenneth Walker, as well as being able to get to that backside cutoff on the linebacker. It's really hard to block Patrick Queen. I'll tell you that right now. Watching him on the screen, there's a reason why he was a special player coming out of LSU. Jalen Sundell didn't do a bad job of it. I also got to see the last drive of Olu Oluwatimi. I didn't love it. You go through the PFF grades for Olu, they were behind what Sundell was able to do even against the 49ers. Now, it's a tall task. It's your first play. You're coming in cold. The Seahawks need Sundell to be at their peak. When you look at this offensive line and the cohesiveness that they have been able to play with together, Charles Cross and Gray Zabel road grading to the point where 90% of Kenneth Walker's yards against the Steelers was on that left side. You cannot have someone come in an offensive line room into any position in general, but especially center, who's been a little bit cold, and expect the offensive line to continue to perform at the way that they have been. The left side's been great. The right side hasn't been terrible, but we got to find a way to get them on track just the exact same way that left side has been. But it's good news because it sounds like with a little bit of mustard, maybe a little bit of pickle juice, we're going to get Jalen Sundell back out on the field even by Tuesday's practice. I'm going to dive into the other injury news, but first, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. I was playing PrizePicks this weekend. Trust me, I should have used the flex play option. Just saying. I've got a 3-pick lineup on PrizePicks for this Sunday. Jordan Love going up against the Cleveland defense. More than 232.5 passing yards. Matthew Stafford going against Philly. 245.5 passing yards. Less. Sam Darnold, guy's been absolutely killing it. 212.5 passing yards against New Orleans. More. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Now we got some good news on the Devon Witherspoon front, and you might be looking at me like I'm crazy right now. Witherspoon wasn't able to play in this game, Will. How can we have good injury news? And the news is that he warmed up on Sunday. He went through all the motions. He was flying around, getting a lather. When you're a secondary player and you have a lower body injury, especially to a knee, you need to be able to move around and show everyone that you can be good in coverage. This is sneaky good news for the Seahawks because it means that Devon Witherspoon isn't going to be out for an extended period of time. Now, you might not believe me. I don't have a medical degree. But I believe when I can see a player out, moving around, trying to practice, trying to warm up for a game, that tells me that they're almost in a spot to be back on Sundays. And you need this guy back on Sundays. He was an animal last year for you. And some people say that he even took a step back, not quite getting to 100 tackles. No interceptions like he had in his first year against the Giants. Look, with the way that Mike Macdonald likes to use this guy, you need, and I mean need, to have him out on the field. You can use him in the nickel. You can use him out on the outside. You can use him on the inside as a slot corner. Like, there's so much ability that you gain from your defense with Devon Witherspoon. He has to be out on the field. He has to be roaming around. He has to be out there making plays. But it's going to be okay because he's going to be back. And what this cornerback room showed you last week is that you are going to be able to tread water until he's back. Look, Reek Woolen had a bad first game. I was one of the first people on it saying, hey, it might be time to look at benching him. Well, guess what? You decided not to. You said, hey, he's going to fight through it, going to play through. Dude was absolutely nails. Josh Jobe has been the sneaky best signing that you've had. He is absolutely lighting the world on fire right now. That's not even going into Darian Kendrick's game, which we'll get into here in a little bit. I'll tell you right now, this Seahawks secondary, specifically that corner room, really impressed me in Devon Witherspoon's absence, but you're not going to have to wait for him to come back for too much longer. Fingers crossed on that one. Last player we got to talk about is Nick Emmanwori, and I have good news, and it's coming right down the pipe. Mike Macdonald today said that they are hoping for Nick Emmanwori to come back out and practice with the team this week. He didn't say play on Sunday. He said practice. You got to practice before you're able to play. But the worry with Nick Emmanwori going into the Steelers game was, will Seattle have to put him on the injured reserve? Because if you put him on the injured reserve, that means he's out 4 weeks. If you don't put him on the injured reserve, you are wasting an active player spot on him, but that does tell me that you think he'll be back before then. I know we only got a 4 to 5 play sample size, depending on if you want to count that special teams rep, but you can see just by how he was reacting against the 49ers, Emmanwori loved being out there on the field. He had a tackle in the backfield. The kid was flying around, diving into plays. He was great in coverage. Again, it's only 4 defensive true snaps. But at the same time, I was impressed with Nick Emmanwori's output, and him being back is only going to make this team stronger. This all being said, I told you I don't have a medical degree, despite what my Twitter account says, or the initials that my Twitter account has on it. I would rather you take your time with Emmanwori and this high ankle sprain so that it doesn't turn into a season-long issue. When you look at this safety lineup right now, Kobe Bryant has been balling out. Julian Love has been balling out. But most importantly, in that big nickel spot, which Emmanwori has kind of taken over when they want to keep Devon Witherspoon on the outside, Darian Kendrick had an incredible game. He had an interception. He was locked down in coverage. And frankly, should have had a second interception if he didn't try and catch the ball with his face mask, a la Little Giants, right? So there is a player right now in Darian Kendrick that can give Emmanwori time to heal up and time to come out. I've been talking about it with producer Sam all day and our worst high ankle sprains and high ankle injuries. It takes time, man. There's a reason why, and weirdly that they say it enough, that you almost would rather break a bone than have a high ankle sprain because it's something that can linger if you don't take the time. So Nick Emmanwori needs to make sure that he takes the time and he heals himself up properly so that he's ready to go. there's our 3 injured players that we've run down, the latest injury report for you. If you want to make sure that you're caught up on all the latest Seahawks news, rumors, injury report stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are releasing videos on the Seahawks every single day, and you're not going to want to miss out. Until next time, I'll see you later.